Good evening and welcome to the December 8th council meeting. Members of the public were provided with the following methods to watch and or participate in this open meeting. You can attend in person at the North Dumfries Community Complex. You can attend electronically via Zoom to observe the meeting or to speak to an item on the agenda. You can watch the live stream by accessing the meeting on the Township YouTube page. You can submit written comments to the Clerk's Division and they will be provided to council members and will form part of the public records. Before we begin, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge and thank everyone for joining us this evening. We appreciate your participation. As we come together to serve the community, I ask that we create a welcoming and positive environment for everyone that includes respect, that we listen to each other with care, speak thoughtfully, and engage kindly with one another. Kindness, that we treat everyone, council, staff, and the public with respect and understanding. Inclusion, that we embrace diverse perspectives and respect each other's opinions. Together, we can make this meeting space one where respect, kindness, and inclusion are at the heart of everything we do. Behavior that's disrespectful, disruptive, aggressive, or intimidating will result in those individuals being asked to leave. I'd now like to call the meeting to order, and can I have please have approval of the agenda, please, Councilwoman?
Moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Tilly, that council adopt the December 8th, 2025 council meeting agenda as presented. The following addendum: 1. Add item 13.2.6, report number CAO 31/2025, Road Safety Initiatives Fund RSIF, Provincial Grant Program to support traffic calming measures. And 2. Add item 13.2.7, report number CAO 33/2025, Net Zero Clean Pad Fundraising Program, assignment of building naming rights for North Dumfries Community Complex, Air Farmers Mutual Community Center.
All those in favor? Carrie, thank you. I'd now like to do the Indigenous acknowledgement. We acknowledge the land on which we gather today as the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, Anishinaabe, and the Neutral people. We acknowledge the enduring presence of the Indigenous people with whom we share this land today, their achievements and their contributions to our community. We offer this acknowledgement as an act of reconciliation between Indigenous and non-Indigenous peoples of Canada. So if you listen to it, it says, we gather today on the traditional territory. Doesn't mean they want to take anything from us. They want recognition of their contributions to this country, to North America. They want to be respected for the gifts that they bring, and they do bring us many gifts, and they teach us many lessons. And so as they embraced our ancestors, we must respect and embrace them back. And not because we respect them just because we're told to, but because they do contribute, and they've done a great many things in this country. And they still, to this day, when you meet with them and you work with them, they respect who we are. They don't want to change any of that. They want to change how they live upon. And they deserve that respect because it's the Canadian way. I used to tell anybody that was new to the country, I said, in Canada, we respect you first. You have to lose that respect. And that's an attitude that I grew up with, and I think that we need to bring that back. We have to respect everyone, and even giving them second, third, and fourth chances as the Indigenous people have given us. So let's pause and reflect on that. Thank you. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest? Seeing none, can I have adoption of the council minutes, please, Councillor Austin?
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Wells, that council approved the following meeting minutes: 6:21. Council meeting minutes dated November 24th, 2025. 6:2. Public planning meeting minutes dated November 25th, 2025.
All those in favor? Yeah, thank you. Motion to go into committee of adjustments, please. That's Councillor Wells, please.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Osmer, that the council meeting adjourned at 6:04 p.m. to sit as committee of adjustment for the purposes of holding public meetings pursuant to the provisions of the Planning Act.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Now I'd like to call the meeting to order, please, and the adoption of the agenda, please, Council Tilly.
Move by myself, second by you. No go in the left.
Christine, any ideas? Is it plugged in the phone? No, we're supposed to plug in. See? Yeah.
Thank you.
Moved by myself, second by Rod Rowan, the committee adopt the December 8th, 2025 Committee of Adjustment agenda as presented.
All those in favor? Councilwoman? Thank you, Carrie. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest? Seeing none. Minutes of the previous committee of adjustment, please, Council Roman.
Moved by myself, second by Councilor Tilly, that committee of adjustment approve the following meeting minutes, from the meeting minutes dated November 25th, 2025.
All those in favor? Carrie, thank you. Within this ribbon. Motion to approve committee adjustment minutes, we just did that one, we're down to motion, 7.6.2, report number PD 75/2025. Okay, I apologize. 7.6.1, report number clerk 18/2025, appointment of chair, vice chair, secretary treasurer, deputy secretary treasurer, and committee of adjustment for 2026. Yeah. Any members of the public have any questions or comments on the appointment of the 2026 committee of adjustment? Councilors. Can I have the motion, please, Councilor Austin?
Moved by myself, seconded by Rod Rowan, that CLK report number 18-2025 be received. That the committee appoint Mayor Foxon as chair and Councilor Tilly as vice chair for the committee of adjustment for the period from January 1, 26 to November 14, 26. That the committee appoint Ashley Good as secretary treasurer, Eric Bell as deputy secretary treasurer, and Andrew McNeely as acting deputy secretary treasurer for the committee of adjustment for 2026.
All those in favor? Carried, thanks, Mike. Now we got 7.6.2, report number PD 75/2025. Consent to minor variance application for 1279 Branchton Road, B-04/25, A-14/25, and A-15/2025. Notice has been given to those in accordance with the Planning Act. The Secretary Treasurer will keep a record of all persons who provide comments on this application and those who register with the Clerk's Department to request a notice of decision. These individuals will be notified of the decision or the convening of future meetings on this application. Brock Ladder, Senior Planner, will present the application. Brock, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The following presentation is for consent application B0425 and minor variance applications A1425 and A1525 as it relates to the property municipally addressed as 1279 Branchton Road. Purpose of this meeting is to advance a recommendation for the committee's consideration on the merits of these three applications. The subject property is located on the east side of Branchton Road, south of Morrison Road, and north of Maple Manor Road, within a cluster of existing rural residential properties. It has an area of 13.35 hectares and a corresponding lot frontage of 217.5 meters along Branchton Road. The property is developed with an existing single detached dwelling and a barn on private services. Surrounding uses generally consist of rural residential and agricultural lots. Under the township zoning bylaw, the property is zoned Z1 agriculture, and in the township's official plan, it is designated as rural area and protected countryside. The purpose of the submitted applications is to create one new residential lot for the development of a future single attached dwelling and to request relief from certain provisions of the general zoning bylaw for both the proposed severed lot and the retained lot. The consent application, file number BO 425, proposes to sever the property to create one new residential lot. The proposed severed lot is planned to be located on the southern portion of the property, south of the existing single attached dwelling and barn. It would have a frontage of 46 meters and a maximum depth of 122.4 meters. The retained lot after the severance would have an area of about 12.72 hectares and a frontage of 171.3 meters onto Branchton Road. On the screen, you can see a visual concept plan showing the retained lot in green and the proposed severed lot in red. The applicant has also submitted two minor variance applications. Two minor variance applications, A 1425 and A 1525, requesting relief from the minimum lot frontage and lot area requirements for both the retained lot and proposed severed lot. In addition, minor variance application A 1525 for the severed lot also includes a request for relief from the minimum distance separation 1 or MDS 1 setback for the future dwelling on the severed lot. This MDS relief was identified through staff's technical review of the application and was not part of the applicant's original submission. It became apparent following the public meeting, once staff completed a more detailed assessment of the proposal, that this variance would be necessary. For the retained lot under file number A1425, there are two variances being requested. The first is to permit a minimum lot area of 12.72 hectares, whereas the current lot area of 13.35 hectares is recognized as an existing lot under section 7.5 of the Township zoning bylaw. The second variance is to permit a minimum lot frontage of 171 meters, whereas the existing frontage of 217.5 meters is recognized under section 7.5 of the zoning bylaw. For the proposed separate lot, file number A1525, three variances are being requested from the Township zoning bylaw. The first variance is seeking relief from section 6.29.1 with respect to the minimum distance separation, or MDS1, based on the existing livestock operation at 1333 to 1429 Branchton Road. A minimum separation of 310 meters is required. The proposed building location on the severed lot is approximately 279 meters from the barn, resulting in a requested reduction of about 31 meters. The second variance is seeking relief from section 7.2.1 to permit a reduced minimum lot area of 0.63 hectares, whereas the minimum lot area of 35 hectares is typically required in the agricultural zone. And finally, the third variance is seeking relief from section 7.2.2 of the zoning bylaw to permit a reduced minimum lot frontage of 46 meters, whereas a minimum frontage of 230 meters is the requirement. The photo on the left of your screen shows the existing residential dwelling on the subject property. Access to the property is provided directly from Branchton Road. The existing barn, which is located to the rear of the dwelling, is not visible in this photo. The photo on the right shows the proposed location of the severed lot, which is situated immediately south of the existing dwelling. The next photo provides a visual illustrating the proposed area of the new residential lot, which would have future driveway access from Branchton Road. As you can see, the portion of the property is currently vacant and offers a wide frontage along Branchton Road. Planning staff circulated notice of the applications to property owners within a 120-meter radius of the subject property, as well as installed notice signs along the Branchton Road frontage, describing and identifying the proposed applications that are under consideration. No public comments were received from any neighboring property owners or any members of the public. From an agency perspective, the initial technical review comments were provided by the Township's engineering consultant, RJ Burnside, on July 25th. Those original comments related to three main areas. Firstly, the confirmation was requested from Burnside regarding the availability of groundwater supply and hydrogeological conditions for the proposed new lot. Second, Burnside requested identification of the location of the existing well and septic systems currently servicing the retained dwelling. And third, they identified an overland drainage corridor crossing the originally proposed lot and recommended that the depth of the proposed lot be reduced to protect the drainage feature and its long-term maintenance. Those were the original engineering comments that informed the next stage of technical review, which is summarized on the forthcoming slide. The township's engineering consultant, following the applicant's revised submission, completed a subsequent review on October 25th. And through that review, Burnside confirmed that surrounding well records were examined and that there are no groundwater supply concerns. They also confirmed that the locations of the existing well and septic systems are now clearly identified on the plans. In response to earlier drainage concern, the lot configuration was revised to fully avoid the drainage corridor. And as part of that change, the proposed lot area was reduced from the originally proposed 1 hectare to 0.63 hectares. Burnside has confirmed that the revised lot can still accommodate the required private servicing with that lot reduction. And with the revisions in place, all engineering concerns have now been addressed. Township's fire department has reviewed the proposal and has no concerns or objections to the application. Region of Waterloo has reviewed the proposal and their comments relate primarily to Branchton Road, as it is a regional road. The region identified that the full right-of-way width at this location is 30.48 meters, and as a result, an approximate 5-meter road widening will be required. The exact width of this road widening will be confirmed through an OLS survey and ultimately conveyed to the region free of cost and encumbrance. The region has also advised that any future access to the severed lot will require a regional access permit, and that a lot grading plan will be required for regional review and approval. Subject to those standard conditions being satisfied, the region has confirmed that they have no objection to post applications. The Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Parks, the Waterloo Catholic District School Board, and the GRCA, as well as Cranbridge, have all reviewed the proposal and have advised that they have no concerns or objections. From a circulation standpoint, all agencies are therefore satisfied with the proposal. Speaking to the policy framework that guided staff's assessment on the proposed lot creation, at the provincial level, the proposal is consistent with the 2024 provincial planning statement, which now permits rural residential lot creation in rural areas where private servicing is deemed to be feasible. In this case, the proposed lot has demonstrated to be capable of supporting private well and septic servicing. And from a PPS perspective, provincial planning statement, the proposal is appropriate. At the township's level, our official plan has not yet been updated to fully reflect the permissions introduced through the PPS 2024, which creates a temporary conformity gap. As a result, a site-specific official plan amendment is required at this time as a mechanism to align the proposal with the current policy framework. Even with that conformity gap, it is staff's opinion that the proposal satisfies the intent of the provincial planning statement and the official plan for rural lot creation. The lot is located within an established grouping of non-farm rural residential lots along Branchton Road. It also remains under the 1 hectare size threshold, is outside any of prohibited source water protection areas, and can be fully serviced by private servicing. Taken together, staff are satisfied that the proposal aligns with the broader intent of rural lot creation policy framework and the direction of the provincial planning statement. Looking at the technical refinement of the lot, overall compatibility and MBS, the proposed lot configuration was revised specifically in response to the engineering review, and through that process, the identified drainage corridor was avoided, and the lot area was reduced to 0.63 hectares. From a land use perspective, the proposal represents rural residential infill. The lot is located between 2 existing rural homes on Branchton Road and maintains the rural character and open space function that defines the corridor. With respect to minimum distance separation, the variance represents an approximate 31-meter reduction, or about a 9% adjustment. The proposed dwelling will actually be farther from the livestock operation than at least 1 existing rural residential dwelling nearby, and no new land use conflicts are being created as a result. Overall, the proposal protects agricultural function, environmental constraints, and fits within the existing rural development pattern. And on that basis, staff are satisfied that the proposal represents good planning. Now, looking at the 4 tests of a minor variance that are set out in the Planning Act, the first test is whether the variance meet the general intent and purpose of the official plan. Staff are satisfied that this is the case and that they do meet the general intent. The proposal supports modest rural residential infill and an existing cluster of non-farm lots along Branchton Road, continuing to protect agricultural function on the retained parcel, and is consistent with the direction of the PPS for rural lot creation on rural area lands. While a site-specific OPA is required to address the conformity gap, staff view this as a technical policy alignment rather than a planning concern with the proposal itself. With respect to the second test, being the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw, the lot sizes and frontages will continue to function appropriately for rural residential use on private servicing. The retained parcel remains a large, viable agricultural lot, and the MDS variance continues to reflect the bylaw's purpose of avoiding land use conflict. With respect to the third test, staff are satisfied that the variances are desirable for the appropriate use of the land. The proposal enables logical and compatible infill development along Branchton Road. The revised lot configuration avoids the identified drainage corridor, and no adverse impacts are anticipated on neighboring properties servicing traffic or agricultural operations. And lastly, the fourth test, being whether the variances are minor in nature. Staff are satisfied that they are minor in nature. The lot area and frontage variances are technical in nature and simply enable the implementation of the severance. The MDS reduction is modest at approximately 9% and does not create new or more significant interface with livestock uses. As a result, no meaningful negative impacts are anticipated, and based on our full planning analysis, staff are of the opinion that the requested variances satisfy the 4 tests under the Planning Act for a minor variance and represent good planning in a rural context. Based on staff's review of the application, planning staff recommend that PD report number 75, 2025 be received, that consent application B0425 be approved subject to the outlined conditions in the staff report, that minor variance application A1425 be approved for the retained parcel, and that minor variance application A1525 be approved for the proposed separate lot. That concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. Would the applicant like to say anything? Welcome.
Hi, good evening. I'm Brendan Llewellyn from GS Speakers on behalf of the applicant. I think Brock did a great presentation. I just wanted to. I just wanted to confirm that we're here in support of the staff report, all the recommended conditions. Good luck to whichever counselor gets to read them all. But they are very straightforward and we're supportive of them as written. So just here to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you. Any members of the public wish to comment on this application? Seeing none, councilors questions. Okay, 3 pages. Do you want to read it or do you want to do a basic abbreviation? Let's go for it, girl.
Moved by myself, seconded by Scott Tilley, that PD report number 75-2025 be received, and that consent application B-04/25 being a request to reserve the property at 1279 Branchton Road to create 1 new rural residential property with approximately 46.1 meters of frontage onto Branchton Road and a corresponding lot area of 0.63 hectares be approved, subject to the following conditions. A, that a reference plan be prepared by an Ontario land surveyor illustrating the new proposed lot lines to the satisfaction of the Township of North Dumfries. B, that the owner applicant submit a draft of the transfer deeds for review. Upon registration, a final copy of the transfer deeds shall be provided to the Township. C, that the owner applicant pay $350 representing the Township's administrative fee. D, that the owner applicant pay the certificate of approval clearance for registration fee to the Township in the amount of $840. E, that the owner applicant pay any outstanding township property taxes in full. F, that the owner applicant pays to the Township the sum of $7,500 as cash in lieu payment for the provision of parkland as permitted under Section 53 of the Planning Act. G, that the owner applicant apply for and enter into a development agreement for the severed lands with the Township of North Dumfries that will satisfactorily address, amongst other matters, the location of buildings and structures, inclusive of the finished floor elevation, driveway locations and standards, lot grading and drainage plan, site servicing plan. H, that the owner shall agree that the development agreement will be registered against the title of the proposed retained and severed lots. I, that the owner applicant complete the dedicated road widening on the Branchton Road, Regional Road number 43, to the satisfaction of the Regional Municipality of Waterloo. J, that the owner applicant complete the required access permit to Branchton Road, Regional Road number 43, to the satisfaction of the Regional Municipality of Waterloo. K, that the owner applicant submit a lot grading to the satisfaction of the Regional Municipality of Waterloo. L, that the owner applicant obtain approval of a site-specific official plan amendment from the Township of North Dumfries to permit the creation of the new rural residential lot, and that such official plan amendment come into full force and effect prior to the issuance of the certificate of consent in the event that council does not adopt a practice to facilitate residential lot creation as an interim measure. M, that the owner applicant obtain approval of a zoning bylaw amendment from the Township of North Dumfries to rezone the proposed separate lot from the Z1 agricultural zone to an appropriate rural residential zone category. And that such zoning bylaw amendment come into full force and effect prior to the issuance of the certificate of consent. And that the above conditions must be fulfilled in the document for conveyance of the certificate of consent be completed by the Township Planning Department within 2 years of the date of written decision pursuant to section 5341 of the Planning Act. Otherwise, the approvals shall lapse. And that minor variance application A-14/25 being a request to permit a minimum lot area of 12.72 hectares, whereas the current lot area of 13.35 hectares is recognized as an existing lot under section 7.5 of zoning bylaw number 689-83, and to permit a minimum lot frontage of 171 meters, whereas 217.5 meters is recognized as the existing frontage for this property under section 7.5 of the zoning bylaw number 689-83 be approved. And that minor application A-15/25 being a request to permit a minimum lot area of 0.63 hectares, whereas a minimum lot area of 35 hectares is required by zoning bylaw number 689-83, and to permit a minimum lot frontage of 46 meters, whereas a minimum lot frontage of 230 meters is required by zoning bylaw number 689-83, and to permit a minimum distance separation MDS1 setback of approximately 279 meters from the existing livestock operation at 133 to 1429 Branston Road, whereas a minimum setback of 310 meters is required by section 6.29.1 of zoning bylaw number 689-83 be approved.
All those in favor? That's carried, thank you. Next is 7.6.3, report number PD 76/2025, minor variance application for 1385 Morrison Road, A-20/25. Notice has been given to those in accordance with the Planning Act. The Secretary Treasurer will keep a record of all the persons who provide comments on this application and those who register with the Clerk's Department to request a notice of decision. Those individuals will be notified of the decision or the convening of future meetings on this application. Brock Linkletter, Senior Planner, will present this application. Brock, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Following presentation is for minor variance application A-20/2025 for the property located at 1385 Morrison Road. Purpose of this meeting is to advance a recommendation for the committee's consideration on the merits of this application. The property at 1385 Morrison Road is situated between Morrison Road and Maple Manor Road in the township. The easterly lot line abuts the municipal boundary between the Township of North Dumfries and the City of Hamilton. The property is approximately 82.2 hectares in size, with frontages of approximately 508.3 meters onto Morrison Road and 504.5 meters onto Maple Manor Road. The property is zoned Z1 agriculture and is designated agricultural, rural area, and protected countryside in the township's official plan. A 2,000 head swine barn, finishing barn, is currently under construction on the property, which meets MDS1 and MDS2 requirements. The lot also contains an existing single attached dwelling, active cropland, and environmental features. Surrounding land uses are primarily agricultural. The owner is proposing a 2,000 head expansion to the approved 2,000 head barn that is currently under construction. With the proposed expansion, the total livestock capacity will be 4,000 head. Based on the submitted MDS2 calculations, the required setbacks to the nearest type B land use, being the McLean settlement area boundary, is 1408 meters for the expanded barn and 1468 meters for the manure storage facility. To facilitate the expanded barn and manure storage, the owner is requesting relief from the township zoning bylaw permit reduced MDS2 setbacks from the McLean Rural Settlement Area boundary. This slide is intended to clarify the difference between what is referred to as a type A and type B land use within the MDS2 framework, as that distinction is key to this application. Type A land uses are typically characterized by lower intensity uses, which include rural residential dwellings that are located outside of defined settlement areas. As these rural dwellings are more dispersed and lower in density, the required MDS2 setbacks are smaller. For this site, that translates to 704 meters to the barn and 734 meters to the manure storage facility. Type B land uses are higher intensity uses and include settlement areas, where there is a tight clustering of residences and a greater level of long-term sensitive use. The McLean settlement area is classified as a type B land use, and as a result, the required MDS2 setbacks increased to 1408 meters for the barn and 1468 meters for the manure storage. The key point for the committee and members of the public is that full compliance is achieved to all type A land uses surrounding the property. The area where relief is being requested is to the type B land use, being the McLean settlement area. The distinction is important and demonstrates that the closest rural residences are already meeting or exceeding the required provincial separation distances. The following specific minor variance is being requested by the owner. Section 6.29.2 of the zoning bylaw establishes that all new or expanded livestock facilities and manure storage structures must comply with the MDS2 formula as established by the province. Based on the submitted MDS2 calculations for the overall proposed operation totaling 4,000 head, the required setback from the nearest type B land use, being the McLean settlement area boundary, is 1408 meters for the proposed expanded barn and 1468 meters for the proposed manure storage. Relief is requested to permit a reduced MDS2 setback of 1137 meters for the proposed expanded barn, whereas 1408 meters is required, being a reduction of 271 meters, and a reduced MDS2 setback of 1080 meters from the proposed manure storage, whereas 1468 meters is required, being a reduction of 388 meters. As mentioned on the previous slide, no relief is required for MDS2 setbacks to type A land uses for this application, as the barn and manure storage facility are compliant with minimum separation requirements for type A uses. Photo on the left of this slide is the street level view of the subject property from Morrison Road. The aerial image on the right illustrates the subject property with the approximate locations of the expanded barn and manure storage facilities shown for reference. The aerial also depicts the required MDS2 setback of 1468 meters from the McLean Rural Settlement Area, with the settlement area outlined in yellow for context. With respect to public correspondence, staff received a mix of verbal and written input on this application. 2 residents from the McLean settlement area had provided verbal comments at the public meeting, which was held on November 25th. Since that meeting, one of those residents has formally withdrawn their objection and has provided written correspondence indicating support for the proposal following further discussion and clarification. In addition, staff received 5 written submissions from neighboring property owners expressing support for the application. Those letters and emails of support, along with the withdrawal of the objection, are included as part of the report materials before the committee. In response to the concerns that were raised at the public meeting, the owner has submitted a detailed written response addressing matters related to site selection, odor, manure management, and overall compatibility with surrounding land uses. That response is also included as an attachment to the staff report. Staff have reviewed all public input carefully and have completed a detailed assessment of those concerns as part of the planning opinion section of the staff report. Looking at department and agency feedback received, the Engineering and Public Works Department has noted that an updating grading plan may be required at the building permit stage. The Mississaugas of the First Credit First Nation have provided comments stating that if any archaeological potential is identified during crown disturbance, that work must cease immediately, and Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation must then be contacted to assess the situation and determine next steps. The building department notes that all future development must comply with the Ontario Building Code in effect at the time, and prior to issuance of any permit, the owner must provide the detailed MDS1 calculation as additional confirmation that the required setbacks are met. The GRCA, Region of Waterloo, and Grandbridge have all stated that they have no objections to the application. This slide speaks to why, from a land use compatibility perspective, staff are satisfied that the reduced MDS2 setbacks will continue to will allow the surrounding area to function appropriately. Even with the relief that is being sought, both the proposed barn and the manure storage facility remain located over 1 kilometer from the McLean settlement area. From a rural planning standpoint, that continues to be a substantial separation distance and functions as an effective buffer between the agricultural operation and the settlement area. There are also several important site-specific mitigation factors at play. Prevailing wind patterns in this area generally move west to east, which is away from the settlement area to the northeast. In addition, modern barn ventilation systems can exhaust air vertically rather than horizontally, which assists with odor dispersion. It is also important to note that the most noticeable odor events occur during manure agitation and spreading events. Those events take place twice per year and already occur on the property today. Additionally, they are not expected to substantially intensify as a result of the expanded barn and manure storage facility being proposed. Another focus of the comments was groundwater protection and private wells. The wells within the McLean settlement area are located over 1 kilometer from the proposed barn and manure storage facility. That degree of separation is well beyond the setbacks required under provincial nutrient management regulations for manure storage facilities. The manure storage facility itself is required to be fully engineered under the Nutrient Management Strategy Act. The approved nutrient management strategy for this operation confirms that the storage will be in a sealed and impermeable facility, which significantly reduces any risk of leakage into the soil or groundwater. The strategy also confirms that the land application is controlled, spread across a very large land base, and regulated provincially to avoid over-application. When those factors are considered together, staff are satisfied that despite the numerical reduction in the MDS setback, the functional separation and protection of sensitive uses, including groundwater and private wells, will be maintained. Planning staff are of the opinion that the requested variances meet the 4 tests for a minor variance as outlined in the Planning Act. As it relates to the first test, the official plan intent is maintained. The property is designated agricultural, rural area, and protected countryside in the official plan. Livestock farming and manure management are recognized as normal farm practices, and the proposal supports the long-term viability of an existing agricultural use property. With respect to the second test, the zoning bylaw intent is also maintained. Livestock facilities and manure storage are permitted uses in the Z1 agricultural zone. Full compliance is achieved with all required MDS setbacks to type A land uses, with relief required to a type B land use. Even with that relief, over 1 kilometer of separation remains in place, which continues to preserve the intent of the MDS framework. With respect to desirability and appropriate use of the land, this proposal supports the continued operation of an continued agricultural operation within a rural area intended for agricultural activity. The proposal remains fully compliant with type A setbacks. No technical review agencies have identified concerns, and the closest rural neighbors have expressed support. And lastly, whether the variance is considered minor in nature. While the numerical reductions appear large when viewed strictly as distances, the actual planning impact is limited based on staff's full assessment. There are no sustained odor impacts anticipated, no groundwater impacts identified, and no environmental concerns raised through agency review, and overall land use compatibility will be maintained. Livestock operations and manure storage are considered normal farm practices in a rural community, and that context is important in assessing the true impact of the relief being requested in this case. Based on the full evaluation of the proposal, site-specific conditions, public input, operational practices, and technical documentation, staff are of the opinion that the requested variances satisfy all tests of the Planning Act and represent good planning in a rural context. As such, planning staff recommend that PD report number 76/2025 be received, and that minor variance application A2025 for 1385 Morrison Road be approved. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Joel, would you like to speak? Yeah.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and councillors. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak to you once again before this matter goes to vote. I'd like to begin by thanking Michael for the excellent work he's done in putting this together, this recommendation, and to Brock also for presenting it. a lot to get through in one night for two of these reports, so you've been extremely thorough and I appreciated the opportunity to answer questions and work through the process. Hopefully, everyone's had a chance to review Michael's report as well as the attached questions and answers and letters of support from our nearest neighbors. I humbly submit that this information included in these documents show that we have made every effort to be respectful of our neighbors and their properties, that we have the support of 5 of our closest neighbors, and that even those who were initially opposed to the variance have now indicated their support or have had their concerns addressed. We believe that the variance has been demonstrated to be minor in nature, both according to legislation, as well as in its impact to the lifestyle, enjoyment, and value of the neighboring properties. We trust that the necessity of the scope of the project is understood in order to maintain our profitability in an increasingly competitive environment and to grow our operation with our growing family. We submit that the location has been carefully chosen to minimize impact on all affected parties and the intent of the legislation has been respected. Finally, we thank each of you for your continued work in the township and for your support of the agriculture community. We are grateful to live and work in this community. We ask that each of you would continue to support the community as we transition into another generation in the township of North Dumfries. Thank you and happy to answer any questions.
Any questions, Councillor of the applicant? Seeing none, thank you, Joel.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any members of the public wish to speak on this? I believe Aaron Mann is registered to speak.
Yeah, I listened to Joel and I figure it's current enough, like, he's doing his best. I was just more concerned about the orders and, I'll have to live with it, I guess.
Okay, thank you very much, Aaron. Councillors, any questions? Seeing none, Councillor Tilley, you have a much briefer motion.
Moved by myself, second by Derek Osner, that PD report number 76-2025 be received. And that minor variance application A 2025 for the property municipally addressed as 1385 Morrison Road to permit the following relief from section 6.229.2 of the general zoning bylaw number 689-83. A reduced MDS setback, MDS2 setback of 1,137 meters from the proposed barn to the nearest type B land use McLean settlement area boundary, whereas 1,408 meters is required, representing a reduction of approximately 271 meters. And B, a reduced MDS2 setback of 1,080 meters from the proposed manure storage facility to the nearest type B land use McLean settlement area boundary, whereas 1,468 meters is required, representing a reduction of approximately 388 meters. Be approved.
All those in favor? It's carried, thank you. Now, seeing there's no correspondence, can I have the adjournment of committee of adjustment, please, Councillor Wells? Please.
Moved by myself, second by Scott Tilley, that pursuant to the Planning Act, the public meeting of the Committee of Adjustment be adjourned at 6:43 p.m.
All those in favor? That's carried, thank you. No, that's good stuff. Yeah. Thank you for attending. Now we have a delegation from Pat Radke for the Air Cemetery Board. Welcome, Pat.
Feel like I was just here. Promise to be short and sweet. Madam Mayor, councillors and staff. On behalf of the Air Cemetery Board, thank you for the opportunity to share our news and updates from the past year. My name is Pat Radke and I serve as president of the board. As you know, the cemetery has been entirely operated by a volunteer board of directors since 1877. Our current board includes Vice President Dennis Charette, Treasurer Don Davidson, Secretaries Reg Creston and Suzanne Gillow, and our Sales and Communications Representative Kathy Moore. I would also like to recognize our groundskeeper, grave digger, plot locator, and so much more. Bill. Bill has dedicated many years to caring for the cemetery, following in the footsteps of his father before him. His commitment shows in the exceptional condition of the grounds, and we continue to receive many compliments from the community due to his efforts. Each September, we host our annual Decoration Day. We invite the community and visitors to lay flowers, take time to reflect, and remember those resting up on the hill. Many in Ayr and the surrounding area have family, friends, and neighbors laid to rest there, both past and present. The event features music by the Hot Air Band, the Air Pipe Band, a local harpist this year, and a guest speaker. This past year, our speaker was David Piper, who delivered an outstanding, thoughtful, and reflective address. And he also hired me as a contract as a teacher a long time ago, so I owe him big. In addition to the generous donations we receive, the sale of plots also supports us financially. It will be interesting to note that over the past year, we had 28 burials, 25 cremations, and 3 full burials. We also sold 14 plots and 1 niche. I want to extend our sincere appreciation to Council and CEO Ange McNeely for your continued interest in financial support. Thanks to your assistance, we were able to restore headstones, remove 14 trees, and complete several other important improvements. I also am pleased to share our newest project. I think it's down there, it is, right there. As shown in the accompanying image, the original front gates, fencing, and ornamental spheres have been restored and beautifully installed at the columbarium site at the rear of the cemetery. This project was led by Director George Kyle with the help of many volunteers. And we are extremely grateful for their hard work. In preparation for future expansion of the columbarium, sidewalks have been replaced and additional space created behind those cedar trees. In closing, I would like to extend a special thank you to Mayor Foxton for her continued attendance and support at our Decoration Day event, and to Councillor Ostner for his valuable input as our council representative. Their cemetery remains a strong and active part of the community, and we are committed to preserving this legacy for generations to come. Thank you, and I will be happy to answer any questions.
Councilors, any questions?
Oh, come on, you have to have a question.
Actually, I have a few comments. One is, without this committee, the law states that municipalities have to take over the cemeteries. Should there not be someone to maintain and take care of it? We have an amazing board running this, and it's made it a beautiful place to be. And we value you and all the work your committee does so very much, and we want to thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And I have the motion, please, Councilor Williams.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Tilly, that the delegation from Pat Radke with Ayr Cemetery Board regarding an annual update to council be received with thanks.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Next, we have David Cook with Langs regarding an annual update to council as required in the memorandum of understanding with the township. Welcome, Dave.
Through you, Madam Mayor. Good evening, members of council and township staff. For those of you who I have not had the privilege of meeting before tonight, my name is Dave Cook and I'm the Director of Community Services at Langs. Thank you for this opportunity to speak today on behalf of Langs and to share the impact of the township's investment in the new youth room and our expanded program initiatives in North Dumfries.
First, I want to express our appreciation for the township support. Langs and the township of North Dumfries, staff and council have a long-standing relationship and commitment to building a community where everyone can thrive. Your funding has enabled us to move quickly from vision to action, and that investment is already producing meaningful results for youth and families in this community. I wanted to share the respective timeline from beginning conversations to a launch event of the new youth space. Over the course of a year, from summer of 2024 to the summer of 2025, Township of North Dumfries staff, along with staff from Langs, engaged in meaningful conversations which shaped the current memorandum of understanding, which was signed in August of this year. With this in place, Langs moved quickly to start meeting the goals of the MOU, but before we went ahead, we paused and created a space for community youth to have their say in the programs and services that were going to be offered. Nothing for the youth without the youth is a phrase that lives in the work that we do every day. A very successful youth focus group was held with 15 youth in attendance, many who are still accessing space and programs today. With insight and direction from local youth, we move forward with furnishing the youth room and hiring new staff to support programs. After a soft launch of the new youth space in October, to meet the needs of local youth, we officially opened at the end of November 2025. I thought it would be important to be transparent and show you how the funds have been budgeted. For the current year, we will not exhaust the totality of funds, but moving forward, we have a plan. As you can see, the majority of funds is spent on staff wages. A new part-time youth worker was hired to support the new youth space. Langs as a CHC already had core funding for an adult worker, 0.5 FTE. With your support, we were able to enhance this position to 22 hours. The remaining funds are budgeted for programming needs, including food, supplies, and community outings for teens, a deliverable from the youth focus group. None of this would be possible without our amazing team. One of the most immediate and important outcomes is that we were able to hire 2 dedicated staff to support programming in Air and beyond. These staff are not only trained in youth and community engagement and mental health awareness, they are locally present, building trusted relationships with the residents who may otherwise struggle to find safe, supportive spaces. Their presence has allowed us to expand our hours, deepen our outreach in local schools, and ensure that youth and older adults alike have consistent, caring adults that they can turn to. Here you can see how just in a short amount of time, we've been able to make an impact. 26 unique youth participants, 83 youth visits, 8 youth council representatives attending 2 youth council meetings, 32 volunteer hours earned, 1 grand opening event, and all of our other children and youth programs are being very well attended. In our adult and older adult programs, we've reestablished relationships with older adults since we've had staffing changes in the summer. Current program offerings are being well attended with new participants arriving as well. We were able to host an adult outing on November 16th to the Air Theater. 30 senior participants transported by coach bus at no cost to the participants. And you may be asking, who paid for that? This is my favorite part of the presentation. And I have to admit, I had a slight lapse in judgment when I forgot that you would have all seen this prior to tonight, so I apologize for the spoiler alert. But with your investment and knowing that a youth space was secured and staff were in place, we were able to leverage additional funding opportunities. This partnership has opened doors to new grants, collaborations, and multi-agency partnerships that bring even more resources into North Dumfries without an increased cost to the township. In fact, we leveraged an additional $36,700 in less than a year. We are currently hiring for a new part-time youth peer worker to support STEAM activities in the youth space. We see this as just the beginning. With the youth room active, staff in place, and the youth council engaged, we are building a sustainable model of support in North Dumfries, one that reflects the strengths and needs of this community. We look forward to continuing this partnership with the township as we deepen programming and expand opportunities. I had the chance to briefly connect with Mayor Foxton at the launch of Waihu Cambridge, Waihu being Youth Wellness Hubs of Ontario. Langs, now the network site lead, offers integrated youth services for youth aged 12 to 25 and offer wraparound supports for mental health, primary care, social and educational supports, and skills and well-being activities. And I told her we would bring this model to North Dumfries, and I believe this will be in place early 2026. I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight, and I will be happy to answer any questions.
Councilors, any questions? Councilor Rose.
I don't necessarily have a question, but I just would like to say, yeah, through you, Mayor, just a thank you to Dave and to all the staff at Langs. Like, I've been able to sit in the advisory committee for the last few years and getting to know you guys a little better, and you just do an amazing job. You blow me away all the time, so thank you very much.
Well, I was at the grassroots. I was at the first meeting on bringing a medical center to North Dumfries. Langs wasn't involved in the first meetings. They came along later on with Bill. And since then, you have evolved and done amazing things. I'm so proud of what you've done. And we've come a long ways. Councilor Tillman, were you going to put your hand up?
I was not, but thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, can I have the motion, please, Councilor Tilly?
I was getting ready for this. Moved by myself, second by Councilor Wong, that the delegation from Dave Cook with Langs regarding an annual update to the council be received with thanks.
All those in favor? Harry. So you still up for the football?
Absolutely.
Well,
We will get that on the books.
Okay.
Yes, we will. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we have a delegation from North Dumfries Historical Preservation Society regarding an annual update to council as required in the memo of understanding with the township. Welcome, Dave. The Dave's in the room.
Dave's in his path. Just you. This one? Next one? I'll just use that, that'll be good. Okay, thanks everyone. I'm here to talk about the North Dumfries Historical Preservation Society. Partnership between the township and the group of volunteers within the community. I am going to focus on about half of the presentation tonight. A couple themes I want to talk about specifically. And I thought, sure, someone would say I've got 5 minutes, but no one said that tonight. So that means I've got lots of time. Let me just go through the slide deck. I know you've seen this. So I'm not going to talk about the first 3 or 4 slides. I want to start with funding. This is a volunteer organization. We do a fundraiser every year, or at least sometimes 2, to try and fill our budget with enough money to operate throughout the year. We have financial support from this township, as you probably are aware, through the use of space in 4 different locations in this building, including the portable, and the utilities that you provide for us, and the cost is borne through the township. But I wanted you to know that we're spending a lot of money, and the money is to the advantage of the township as well. We have a very good quality website, which we developed. Irene is one of the key developers on that. We pay that construction, we pay those licenses every year, so there's no cost to this organization, to the township. We just bought a new scanner, a high performance scanner. We've had one before. Again, Irene is the key go-to person for that. And this is to help us digitize as much as we can of our collection, both municipal and community, in order to get it on the web so that people can access this from anywhere. Those who want to research, those who want to just learn. We just spent thousands on shelving. With the portable in play now, we have purchased shelving to move out all of the documents that were held by the region that were pulled back through your efforts mostly.
And those documents are in that space right now. We're still working on that space to develop it. And we also have that for storage, and the portable is now our office space. So we have an office, a meeting space, and a processing spot there, which will allow us to process material that come in so that we can put it away appropriately. We hope to have some kind of an open house on that New Year, so we hope that she'll be here, and we will be at the mayor's levy once again. So let me just see here, 2, 3, 6. Not that one, but this one. Ongoing activities, just a few things to keep in mind here, I think. We've had. No, I got it one more. Come on. Activities. Milestones. We had a pretty busy year this year. We covered a fair amount of territory, not just with the mayor's levy and the other activities that we've been a part of, but we continue to collect, we continue to buy, we continue to store. This year, we also did a calendar for the Air 200, which was our primary fundraising effort. And we are part of the Heritage Week. Just trying to think where I am here. Scanner, yeah. We want to also make a point of the fact that the township, through your budgeting efforts, provides money each year to clean and restore old community records. And these are not records that are donated to us. They are your archives. And so you're spending your money on your archives, which is part of what is required for any municipality at this point. Didn't do a very good job.
You're doing great, Dave.
No, I just thought I had it. Oh, yes. So we are involved in 2 projects with the township right now. One is to purchase and install, and we've been working with Andrew on this for some time, a digitization program that will allow us to take all the stuff that we scan, put it into a proper format, and then allow that to be run through the website, both websites, township and ours, for people to connect with. There is a cost to that. There's a cost commitment that's been budgeted for us, as far as I know. And we are meeting with the township right now currently and with the provider, and hope to have that in place fairly soon. We have made a request through the budget process for some professional assistance this year. I don't know if you've seen it. I don't know how far along it made it, but we are at a stage where we have so much to do and so much equipment to use and so little real professional knowledge as to how to do this. We need help from a professional archivist. We're not asking you to hire a professional archivist, but we have asked through the budget process for some money in order to allow us to contract a certain amount of hours, and I forget what they were in the budget proposal, to allow us to bring people in to get that framework in place that will allow this to operate efficiently and effectively like a proper archive would in any other city or municipality, but at the size and scope of North Dumfries. That's something I really want to emphasize, because if you're dealing with that on the budget process now, I really encourage you to think seriously about this. If this is going to go anywhere, where it has to have some professional support. Volunteers are great. We love doing this. We are not archivists, and we do need some assistance in that area. And the other one I wanted to talk to about a little bit is some permanent space for the organization itself. We've been in discussions with Andrew and the township for almost 10 years about a permanent location where we can have storage, we can have access for the community, we have research that can be done there, office space, but most particularly some form of display or museum. Rumbo has it, Paris has it, South Dumfries has it. And South Dumfries doesn't even exist anymore, but they have it. This is a really crucial piece for us, these 3 pieces in a row that I just talked about. And I encourage you again, in the process of discussion for the construction that's going to be taking here and the expansion in this building, is there not some opportunity to find space and find a place where we can in fact be a bigger part of this community? And I'll tell you one of the reasons I'm really concerned about this one. And this has come up fairly recently, and I'm sure you've heard it. Provincial government has been talking lots about removing two-tier government. And it is quite possible that you could see that happen in the next couple of years. They don't want it. They don't like the two-tier government system. They want one. And when it happens, North Dumfries disappears. As an entity, it disappears forever. Sure, there'll be North Dumfries hockey teams and there'll be North Dumfries, planning groups and other things of that nature. But what will stay and what will look after the history and the identity of this particular community is the North Dumfries Historical Preservation Society. And look at North Dumfries and South Dumfries as a good example. South Dumfries was lost several decades ago now, but it still exists, but only on the main street in St. George with that historical society that they maintain. Otherwise, there is nothing North-South Dumfries that exists whatsoever. I do not want to see that happen to my community because I think this is a very valuable community. I think you support this community, and I'm asking you to support us and to allow us to do the job we are trying to do to keep this community front and center. Sorry, I went over.
No, it's fine, Dave. I just want to correct you in that, yes, the province is looking at change. They're getting rid of the upper tiers. So North Dumfries will exist, but the region will not. Or it'll be a different form, the region will take a different form.
Sure,
So,
it talks about it on both sides, and that the region becomes municipality as well,
well, that's what.
which is
some
what's
of the
happened in
region wants, but The
Hamilton.
province is saying no. The province is saying no. That's why the Peel was the test one, where they've taken Peel away and made the branched in, Mississauga and Caledon.
Right.
So the
But
other,
that's
that's,
an enormous population.
yes, but that's what they're
Enormous.
talking about for us too. They told the region,
Mhm.
they've told the regional chair. And so we're just waiting for some implementation. First, the part of it was the planning act when it came down to us.
I hope you're right. I really do. I don't want to see this community disappear. But whether it's here or not, what saves the history of North Dumfries is the.
Absolutely correct. And I'm sure we will continue to work together to find that perfect spot.
Well, we're not holding out for perfect. We're just holding out for a spot. Okay.
And any questions or comments, councilors? So thank you, Dave, and thank you guys for all you do. It is important. And thank you very much. Can I have the motion, please, Councilor Austin?
Move by myself, second by Councilor Roman, that the delegation from North Dumfries Historical Preservation Society regarding an annual update to council be received with thanks.
In favor. Carrie, thank you. Have a good night, folks.
Thank you.
Michael. Are there any requests to lift items from the consent agenda? Councilor Williams.
I was looking to lift port number 12.1.1A and 12.2.1.1. I don't know. The municipality of Kelvin, and then also C, correspondence received from the mayor of Welland. So that's 12.2.1A and C.
That's not. This is. I choose, there we are. Okay, so we're gonna let A and C, right? And I have the motion, Council Woman, eliminating the two. Oh, I'm sorry.
I was going to ask for 12.2.1C as well.
Okay, For that, from I was like, Councilwoman, have the motion. Councilwoman, have the motion, please. Just scratch out 12.2.a and 12.2.c.
Moved by myself and Councilor Oster that the following reports are listed on the December 8th, 2025 consent agenda be received and the recommendations contained therein be approved and acted upon. 12.11, report number CLP 5. Subject to adjustment for 2026, 12.1.2, report number FIN 21-2025, 2025-2026 bank signing authority, 12.1.3, report number FIN 22-2025, planning letter from auditors, 12.1.4, report number FIN 23-2025, 2026 interim tax bylaw, 12.1.5, report number FIN 24-2025, the borrowing bylaw for 2026, 12.1.6, report number FT 12-2025, the fire department instant response summaries, November 2025. And the following information items as listed on December 8th, 2025 consent agenda be received. 12.2.1 communications. Resolution received from the city of Waterloo regarding the feasibility of building high performance aquatic facility. And resolution received the town of Perry Sound regarding alcohol container return system. And 12.2.2, the advisory committees. AIDS Leisure and Lifestyle Advisory Committee meeting minutes dated September 17th, 2025.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Councilor Williams, 12.2.1 communications resolution received by the municipality of Caledon regarding strengthening self-defense protections and addressing rising home invasions in Ontario. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think I'd like to just start with asking, maybe to staff about, just what kind of protections there already are for people who are the whole castle law and self-defense protections, because I know that there's a lot of confusion around this area as well as what's allowed and what's not. Thank you.
CEO McNeely.
So, Madam Mayor, in my simple understanding, if someone enters or invades your home and makes threatening gestures or actions towards you, you are allowed to match with equal reply force. That is my understanding of the current laws as they stand.
So I think this resulted from the individual that home invasion and he killed the invader. And so he went beyond equal force. And that's what this is saying, that that's okay. And I hesitated, or I thought it was interesting and I thought I can't support it. But Councilor Austin.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The problem with that is when someone comes into your home and is threatening your family, you don't know to what extent you need to go to. If you feel threatened, if that person's going to kill a member of your family, actually kill you, like it is a hard one, because the thing is that you don't want to be put in that position, but when somebody enters your home and invades your privacy, you don't know what their intentions are. And I've always understood the law as adequate force as possible. But in that ensuing confrontation, how do you know where that elevation stops as to where you defend yourself? I think self-defense is a huge thing for people, because like I said, in this particular incident, I think it was in Lindsay. It's in Lindsay, yeah. You know, you just think about it. You've got children in bed, you have a wife in bed, and this person has come in with a weapon into your house. How do you know? Like, am I supposed to take a knife out the same size as him and start comparing? Like, you protect yourself, you go into protection. And if it escalates to a certain point where unfortunately somebody had to die, but you had to protect your family. So again, you know, like, it's not like he was running out the door and the guy shot him. He was there invading.
So my only comment is that this reflects very much like the Florida law, where a lady knocked on a door because her car broke down and the guy shot her. and it has stood up in court. She didn't have any aggression, didn't have any weapons. So it's a slippery slope. Unless this is written just right, I can't support it. Counselor Tilly.
And rightfully so, I mean, in the circumstance where. Say, a person who cannot defend themselves. Is in their home alone, and it doesn't take much, I mean, we live in a very small, tight, easygoing community. For the most part, and for somebody to walk in, who's to say that the doors are always locked? Or when you let the cat out, you let the cat in, whatever happens. I have teenagers, and I'm not always at home because I have to work some evenings, so I don't even know how to handle this. I do have a very, I'm similar to what you're saying, Mayor, in the way that I don't know what the protocol is. But I do know if I happen to be home, then I'm gonna remove. Now, there was an event that happened probably about 4 years ago. We had a person with dementia living in the village and was coming in and visiting people's houses and using their washrooms, and came into our house and went in and used the bathroom. I don't even know how she knew where the bathroom was. She'd never been in our house before, but she came into our house and used the bathroom. And then when my wife asked her what she was doing, or telling her that you can't just do this, she was shoved out of the way violently, and we called the police, and it was like, yeah, this is somebody with dementia. We're aware of the situation. It's happened numerous times in the village. And so that particular case, I mean, there's a whole different situation there. We're small enough, smart enough community to know that that's not gonna happen. But there are also home invasions, and this just down across, like 10 houses down from my place, that happened last winter when people are away on vacation, away for the winter. And it's scary to know that that's just happening down the road. Now, thankfully, there is a lot of video cameras. Thankfully, there's a lot of stuff. But a video camera is gonna allow me to know what happened when I'm not there. It's not gonna allow. So I do agree with what you said, that there needs to be a very carefully crafted thing. But to know that if not knowing whether or not I can physically remove somebody from my household who is not welcome to be there because they're just sitting in my living room chair, that is something I don't know. Like I've studied the law a fair bit. I know a fair bit about it. And if they're not doing anything, you can call the police and have them removed. But I've also waited 45 minutes for the police to come, and that would be a long time to wait. So and in that particular case with the person with dementia, the police never came and just took the report. So, and of course we knew who it was, so not a big deal. But I think it does result in order to require some more discussions at a higher level and at a lower level as well.
And a similar situation happened here in town where a man with dementia, and the children didn't know he had dementia. And he ran up to them and they ran to their parents saying that some guy was trying to take them. And police were called and people were up in arms until they found out that it was the father of one of their neighbors that was in severe dementia. So how far does it go? That's why I question this. Until the courts find a way to word it adequately, I sort of hesitate. Council Wilms.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think what I really liked about this motion wasn't, like, I understand the concerns about what it means, specifically for number one. But I do like a lot of the other parts of this motion enough that I felt that it was sufficient to support, clarifying and strengthening the rights of homeowners, amending things so that we can actually track home invasions. I think that a lot of these things here are good, and ultimately this will be the province of Ontario's role here, and I do think it's important for us to I'm often home alone. And with my kids or whatever, and it's like, okay, so what can I do? So there's always that concern there. So I think it would be good to have more clarity around this issue and more debate at higher levels. So that's why I was bringing this forward as something that potentially we could support, or maybe amend it slightly and then support. But yeah, thank you.
Councilor Austin.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just one comment to add on to Councillor Wells. I think this letter shows the frustration of the general public. People are tired of being victims, and when they stand up for themselves, they're charged. And I think everything, the ball starts rolling somewhere, and letters like this is where it starts. And I think it through the natural process will go through the system properly. But you know how it always works. If you're not a squeaky wheel, you're not gonna get any oil. So you need to come out strong. You need to come out like, we're frustrated, like people are frustrated with being victims. Someone can walk into your house, they can do this, you fight back. Oh, how hard do I fight back? When you're fighting back, you're in a panic mode. You're not gauging, okay, was this too hard? Now, you had mentioned Florida law. Well, they have right to bear arms, they have right to stand your ground, they have, but you still can't shoot somebody climbing the fence out of your backyard, even if they were in your house.
Right.
So, and that's still against the law in Florida. So, yeah, I mean, comparing Florida to what we have here is night and day, but we do need to have some sort of clarity on I want peace of mind if somebody comes in, like, I want peace of mind that if somebody comes into my house, I'm gonna defend myself to whatever degree I need.
Councillor Tilly.
I believe what Councillor Osmer and Councillor Williams are saying is that in principle, this letter that was sent is something that they'd like to support, and I believe it's something that is well enough written. I don't know if we needed our staff to take any changes, but I would also be support to send this along as well, that we need to look into it, not necessarily about standing or doing anything, but that we do support Ontario doing what they need to start looking into this and tracking it. And tracking it, they current.
And my concern with it is that it says strengthening self-defense protection. When we already have people, you can use equal force. So does that mean that you're saying everyone should buy guns in case somebody comes to your house with a gun?
Just respond. You're not allowed to use a gun at all, and as self-defense in Canada.
But if you're strengthening, that's what it's asking for, strengthening self-defense. So if somebody comes in your house with you're legally allowed to use the gun then, Council Williams.
So I think it's just around protections here, so for strength and homeowner self-defense protections. But here's the thing too, is that you're not guaranteed that you're going to be opposing somebody who's of the same strength. I could be facing somebody who's like 6'2", 220 pounds of pure muscle. Like, what exactly am I supposed to do that's equal?
Why are you smiling so much, Seal? Like what came into your mind there? What is the here?
Madam Mayor, if it would assist council, I do think there is concerns across communities, urban and rural. I think there was certainly an outcry at the time of the event in Kawartha Lakes. Certainly know the Premier made his thoughts well known. Would it be of assistance to council if we sort of took the Calvin resolution, recrafted it, focusing on two aspects? Because you've got two different levels of senior government that are involved in this. It's actually the Criminal Code of Canada that speaks to the actions that arose with respect to the position taken by the Crown Attorney on that home evasion and the charges that were laid against the homeowner. So in that context, is council basically petitioning the government to properly assess and fully explore all reasonable means to provide clarity and soundness for homeowners in the case of having comfort of living in their homes when under threat. The other is at a provincial level, which oversees police forces and police services boards. And it could be to have the province properly register code and provide data sets or require those police service boards to provide data sets. That could look at the provincial lens of, nature of calls, what kinds of weapons were used in these home evasions, whether there were injuries tracked or whether the home was empty, and give us a better understanding of trends that may be occurring. Because that may assist police services boards in time better respond in terms of allocation of resources, but also providing perhaps strategies that might be deployed by police service boards or police services based on a more comprehensive gleaning of information and data.
Councillors, I'm comfortable with that. Your feelings, please. CEO McNeely, you are so subjected to.
You can come back at the January meeting with that.
Thank you. The next is C, correspondence received from the Mayor of Welland regarding a call to action standing together for justice and the protection of Canada's children. Councillor Williams.
Yeah. You want to take it first? I don't know. Well, okay. I brought that up because I thought there was a lot of things there that could potentially turn into a resolution, but it was just a letter, so I wasn't really sure what to do with it. So I think that's just an open question out here.
Councillor Osmond.
Yeah, I was hoping that council would support it. Our bail and sentencing needs major reform. Because these particularly pedophiles and the sexual crimes like they had in August on a 3-year-old child. I mean, like, these people need to be put away, and then while they're being charged and go through the process, they need to be held. And these bails can't happen. Like if it's a minor incident, okay, well, that's fine, but this has been an issue a long time with bail and sentencing. And we need major reform, and I know for a fact that the policing system is taxed with this and they're frustrated because they get the bad guys and then the bad guys are back on the street. Like, so, again, it's very similar to the last motion, request. You gotta throw your anvil in the fire to get something going. So, that's why I'm thinking it would be good to support, because these topics need to be discussed, and they need to grow, and they need to go to a federal level where we can actually, hopefully, trust that we're gonna get some reform.
CEO McNeely, can we again ask you to draft up something for us in this regard?
Staff would be pleased to return in January with a draft resolution on this item.
Thank you. So we don't have to do anything about these, just direction to staff for both. So do I do that? Thank you.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Tilly, that the resolution for the municipality of Kelvin regarding strengthening self-defense protections and addressing rising home evasions in Ontario be received for information, and that council instructs staff to draft a resolution for consideration in a future meeting in January 2026.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Councillor Austin, please.
Moved by myself, second by Councillor Wells, that the correspondence from the Mayor of Wellington regarding a call to action standing together for justice and the protection of Canada's children be received for information, and that council instructs staff to draft a resolution for the consideration of a future meeting for consideration at a future meeting in January 2026.
Is it Welland or Wellington?
Welland
Well,
in Niagara region.
This is Welland. No, you're Welland, not Wellington.
This one.
Okay. Yeah, that's right, I just want to make sure. Okay. All those in favor? Carried, thank you. And next is 13.2, report number clerk 2025, authorization to attend a regional Waterloo all council meeting. Any questions?
Yeah, the consent agenda was already adopted.
Yes.
Previous motion, and those were two.
Yeah. So questions, comments? Can I have the motion, please, Councillor Austin?
Moved by myself, second by Councillor Wallaman, CLK report number 20-2025 be received. And that Township of North Dumfries Council authorized participating in an all-council meeting hosted by the Region of Waterloo, scheduled on December 19, 2025 at 2 p.m. to be held at Town Hall in the Township of Woolwich.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Next is 13.2.2, report number 2025, 2026 fees and charges. Any questions? And can I have the motion, please, Councillor Williams?
Moved by myself, second by Councillor Tilly, that Fin report number 25-2025 be received, and that bylaw number 3609-25 being a bylaw to establish the fees and charges for various services and programs provided by the township for fiscal year 2026 be enacted.
All those in favor? It's carried, thank you. Next is 13.2.3, report number 2026, transfer to reserves, unspent programs. Questions? Seeing none, motion please, Councillor Tilly.
Move by myself, second by Councillor Roman, that Fin report number 26-2025 be received, and that council approve the following transfers to reserve for 2025 from the operating budget. A, transfer unspent HR support of $40,000 to pay equity and wage compensation reserve. B, transfer surplus of unspent taxation write-offs and taxation supplementary of $80,000 to working funds reserve. C, transfer unspent wages up to $275,000 to pay equity and wage compensation reserve. D, transfer unspent gravel maintenance of $40,000 to infrastructure reserve. E, transfer unspent guardrail maintenance of $15,000 to infrastructure reserve. F, transfer surplus of streetlight division to streetlight reserve. G, transfer unspent Langs programming support to recreational program reserve.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Now 13.2.4, report number Fin 2026 draft municipal budget. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, can I have a motion, please, Councillor Roman?
Moved by myself by Councillor Williams, that in report number 27-2025 received, that the draft 2026 budget document be posted on the township's website for public review, and that the attached draft 2026 budget be discussed in detail at the meeting previously scheduled on January 12, 2026, and subsequent meeting as required.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Report number CAO 32-2025, extension to development charges bylaw number 3208-20. Any questions or comments? So, some of the, it is self-explanatory. Can I have the motion, please, Councillor Austin?
Moved by myself, second by Councillor Tilly, the CAO report number 32-2025 be received, and that bylaw number 3610-25 being a bylaw to extend the lapsing period for development charges bylaw 3208-20 be enacted.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Thirteen point two point six, report number CAO 31/2025 Road Safety Initiative Fund, RSIF, provincial grant program to support traffic calming measures. Any questions and comments? Councilor Wilms?
I had a question with regards to option 2 in that report. With regards to the Shellard Road, was that the area that's being under contemplation was that the area that was, I think it was under flooding in the spring? Or is that a different section of Shellard Road?
See, I'll be on.
Madam Mayor, through the council, no, that's a different section of Shellard Road.
Councilor Wilms?
And thank you, Madam Mayor. Though I support option 1. I was wondering if I understood the report correctly, there would be potential for more funds coming in the future, and I was wondering whether it would make sense to actually look at various items as option 4, so that we would be prepared to put additional speeding kind of control systems in place for those areas that we had already identified. Thank you, Madam.
CEO McNeil?
So Madam Mayor, through to Councillor Wilms. Councillor Wilms is very correct. There is notionally a phase 2. The minister has in the letter signaled that there's going to be a second round. It's only for those municipalities that actually had an ASC program, and we qualified because we were in that 90-day pause before the November 13th implementation or November 14th implementation to actually ban ASC initiatives. We do not know the particulars of what those parameters might be, but certainly when we get more information, the intent is for the township staff to come back to council, talk a little bit about, what those parameters are, what will be available to us. Obviously, the dollar value is going to be a huge determinant in terms of just how encompassing a program could be. Generally speaking, option 4 is the cheapest of all potential scenarios in terms of just having enhanced signage, pavement markings, and perhaps at the entry to one or more of those community safety zones having that larger flashing sign that's sort of giving everyone the posted sort of traveled speed that they may be undertaking. If you want to get a better understanding of what that looks like, if you drive into Plattsville or Drumbo, that's just 2 examples in your kit. That's the kind of signage, enhanced pavement markings, and the speed flashing sign that would fall under option 4.
Yes, I was quite surprised when I got the letter several weeks ago giving us the money, especially since we hadn't really applied for it, and I asked my other mayors up there and they had not received anything.
That's because none of them had an ASC program.
Okay, so yes, if we get more, all the better, because initially we were concerned about how we would have to take care of ourselves ourselves. So the motion, please, Councillor Williams.
Moved by myself, second by Councillor Wilman, that CAA report number 31/2025 be received. And that staff be directed to submit the follow-up information on the former automated speed enforcement ASC program to the Ministry of Transportation in support of the interim grant allocation as identified in the minister's correspondence dated November 13th, 2025. And that staff advance forward with an information engagement program with the property owners on Morrison Road between Stewman Road to 250 meters west of Sheffield Road, and on Shellard Road between Clyde Road and 1654 Sheffield Road on a proposed traffic calming project involving the introduction of speed humps. And that staff returned back to council no later than February 9th, 2026 on an update arising from the information engagement program outlined in recommendation 3 above with potential next steps. And that staff continue to monitor for the recent phase 2 of the province's grant program on traffic calming initiatives, which is expected to be announced in 2026, and to report back to council on the framework of this proposal.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Now, report 3.2.7, CAO 33/2025, next zero twin pad fundraising program. Assignment of building naming rights for North Dumfries Community Complex, Air Farmers Mutual Community Complex. Any, and the public wish to speak?
Sorry, I first ran out of lives. I'm still recovering a little bit. I think CAO immediately reports pretty self-explanatory. This had been discussed previously in closed session. This is a real milestone event. We've never done anything of this scale before, and we managed to have Air Farmers Mutual step up, which was fantastic to do that. It brings us dangerously close to achieving our target. So I'll use this opportunity, as I do every chance, to say, you haven't bought a seat yet, or in the Air Farmers Arena bowl seating, please do. We're doing a holiday promotion to try and get the remaining seats done. And that might be enough to put us over the top, and we'll see how it goes. But we're continuing to keep running with the campaign, because we're doing awfully well. And this has been great news. And I really have to commend Andrew and staff for the great work they did. You know, we just did the pitch, they did the real work behind it. So thank you.
Thank you, and you guys did a great job as well. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, the motion, please, and this one, Councilor Tilly.
Moved by myself, second by Councilor Osmer, that CA report number 33-25 be retrieved, 2025 be received, and that council adopt the framework of the building naming rights to be assigned to Air Farmers Mutual Insurance Company for a 40-year term, with a donation and sponsorship in support of the Net Zero Twin Pad project in the amount of $600,000 as set out in attachment 1 to this report. And that the agreed upon name of the building shall be the Air Farmers Mutual Community Center, and that the mayor and clerk be authorized to execute the building naming rights agreement between the township and Air Farmers Mutual Insurance Company, subject to any minor revisions as it may be required by township legal counsel and or the chief administrative officer.
All those in favor? It's carried, thank you. Councilwoman, go ahead. Mayor, yes, you may. Council's okay with Councilwoman adding something on 14? Okay, of course. So now we're at, there's no correspondence. Mayor and Council's report number 14, Councilwoman, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to just let council know that our former councilor, Ben Benninger, passed away. He served on council 2001 to 2014. He received King Charles III award for his community service, coronation award, coronation medal for his community service. When I first joined the Heritage Committee in 2001, 2002, he was the councilor that was in charge of that committee. And then lately, I've been the councilor while he's on the committee. So I've known Ben for a long time. He added a lot to the Heritage Committee, very, very strong about heritage. We had lots of fights about it. He and I didn't agree all the time, but he was a very good mentor. He worked very hard with me. And together, I feel that we achieved a lot of heritage. And I was at the visitation with his wife and his son, talking with them, and they said they were very touched with the township lowering the flags on Ben's behalf, and they want to express their appreciation to the township council and staff. And so just want to point that out.
And I want to thank you for attending. I had conflicts with regional council, but he also served on heritage on the regional council, and for a while he served on the rank. Good guy. He really loved this township, and it showed. And it was a great loss, and he left a great legacy. So thank you for that. And now we will go down to the bylaws, please. Councilor Wilms, the bylaws.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Osmer, that the following bylaws be read a first and second time. 19.1 bylaw number 3606-25, being a bylaw to appoint a committee of adjustment of the Township of North Dumfries. Bylaw number 3607-25,
being a bylaw to provide for an interim tax levy in 2026. Bylaw number 3608-25, being a bylaw to borrow funds temporarily to meet current expenditures during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2026. Bylaw number 3609-25, being a bylaw to establish the fees and charges for various services provided by the Township of North Dumfries for 2026. Bylaw number 3610-25, being a bylaw to amend development charges, bylaw 3208-20 as amended. Bylaw number 3611-25, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council of the corporation of the Township of North Dumfries at this meeting held on December 8, 2025.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. And Councillor Tilly, third reading of the bylaws, please.
Moved by myself, second by Council Williams, that bylaw numbers 3606-25, 3607-25, 3608-25, 3609-25, 3610-25, 3611-25 be read a third and final time, be signed and sealed by the mayor and clerk.
All those in favor? That's carried, thank you. I wanted to say at the end of that, and partridge in a pear tree. Councillor Bowman, can I have the adjournment, please?
Moved by myself, by Councillor Oster, that whereas business before the council meeting has been concluded at 7:45 PM. Please all this meeting.
All those in favor? It's carried, thank you. Now, Andrew,